for $50 from when he priced this in. 956, as I just refreshed, Kitco. So this is the end of that deal. Yesterday he told you it was the end. The silver sold out at the $18 an ounce. These Lakotas everywhere else are going for $25. I've seen them. A few places have them for like $20. Those have gone up to $19.53. Gorgeous silver dollar put up by the Lakota Nation, pure silver, 99999, whatever it is. $19.53. So that went up. But he is at the absolute tail end of Frank's at the old price. This has not gone up, but this is the end. The silver, it's over. Still get a great deal on it. The Franks are $216, and the Sovereigns are $266. Those are just fabulous deals on gold at bullion level pricing when the market was lower, and these are even semi-numismatic. They have some collector value. A lot of them are 100 years old. European. So this is the end of that deal. If you want to get gold cheaper than I can find it anywhere else, 800-686-2237, 1-800-686-2237. And Ted said he's holding it through till tonight. And then it's definitely gone. 800-686-2237 on the Franks at 216. Incredible deal. The market's now over $50 higher. And Sovereigns at 266. Excellent deal as well. And the Lakotas have gone up, but not much. $19.53 now for each coin. 800-686-2237. Don't procrastinate. Get them today. The brokers are there right now.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network. Don't worry. This show is documented. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
I fell into a burning ring of fire.
We're going to Reverend Pastor Ted Pike here in just a moment to cover the frontal assault on the First Amendment. Not just free speech, but also religion in this country. So that is coming up in just a moment. I did want to just add one more thing on that Midas Resources gold and silver offer. Again, this is gold priced in when the market was $905 to $910 an ounce. It's $956 today as we speak, Thursday, the 23rd day of July 2009. And you've got to tell them that it's the Genesis Alex Jones, Ted Anderson special when you call to take advantage of that, or it will be the newer high prices. The silver has already gone up since yesterday. This is the very tail end of getting Franks and Sovereigns at that much lower price. You cannot beat this deal. Here is the number again for the brokers, 1-800-686-2237, 800-686-2237. But even if you're watching this 6 months from now on the web at prisonplanet.tv, it's always a good time to call Midas Resources, our sponsor. It's our sponsor. That's where I get my gold and silver. It's the best prices out there that I've found. Also, before we go to Pastor Ted Pike, while we still have some free speech in this country, we're carrying a lot of new books and videos, not just books and videos I've written or produced, but other people's great books and videos on the online video bookstore at Infowars.com. The latest is Anthrax War, a film by Bob Cohen and Eric Nadler, and you won't believe the people they got for interviews with this. You want to know about the real history of anthrax, the government involvement in anthrax, the anthrax attacks. This film is unbelievable. They're going to be guests very soon on the show. Anthrax War, just an amazing film, available, of course, at Infowars.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. Generation RX. This gets into the forced drugging and drugging of the population of the United States and our children, and how the psychotropic drugs are causing suicide. So are the Ritalin-type drugs. Generation RX. Show this to families and friends and people you know that are about to put their kids on these drugs or have already put them on them. Very important film, very professionally produced. Generation RX. The latest global warming film, Part 2, by Dr. Michael Kaufman, with an incredible narrator and host. So you want to get Global Warming, Emerging Science and Understanding. It's got a dry title, but very, very powerful information. That's available. This film is free. For anybody that gets it with the Obama deception or Endgame, it is the entire unedited interview, the whole thing. I'd only put about 80% of it out on PrisonPlanet.tv a few years ago before he died. He's now, of course, deceased. His last video interview, Aaron Russo, Reflections and Warnings, free at Infowars.com. Has an update by myself. I'm in the film. A lot of new documents. Really, this took us about a month to make. Kind of a mini film, but it's over 90 minutes long. Of course, Endgame Blueprint for Global Enslavement. Everybody's got to have this. Fabled Enemies, the latest 9/11 info, who was really involved, how they carried out the attacks. Fabled Enemies, I think one of the best 9/11 films and one of the latest ones out there. Fabled Enemies by Jason Burmis, all available at Infowars.com. And then I can't stress enough this film. I was talking to Gerald Salente, who does foreign, British, French, Russian, Middle Eastern TV, U.S. television. He gets interviewed by newspapers every day. He's all over the cover of the New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal. Trends forecasting, he said he's never seen anything like it. He said this off air. I said, I wish you would have said that on air, but at the end of the show he wanted to talk. And but next time he's on, he says he's going to talk about it. He said the buzz is insane. Everywhere he goes, people bring up the Obama deception. Everywhere he goes, he talks about it. And I don't want to drop names, but I was in Hollywood working on some stuff over the weekend, and this film's one of the hottest in the underground there with big stars. This is the reason you see his approval rating dropping, is because people are getting this film out. Folks, we have no way of knowing how many times it's been watched on the web. 3 months in, it was 15 million. I'm guessing 3 months after it's 20 million. And I'm just saying as if the film's getting smaller. It's getting bigger. Own the phenomenon on DVD. Have this in your library. They can shut the web off. They can't shut you making copies of DVDs down. Get it, buy dummy DVDs, copies, make the copies of it. Buy the blank DVDs. Make copies today. Get the duplication machines. They're cheap. Make copies. Get it out, folks. This is so important. The Obama deception. This is my biggest film. I've had a lot of other big hits, and I measure a hit by reaching millions and millions of people and affecting change. This has had more effect than probably all my films combined in 6 months. That's scary. The Obama deception. Now, this film is number 2 in that, and it needs to be bigger than the Obama deception. This is, frankly, more important, Endgame. Okay, I'm going to shut up, go to Ted Pike, because I want to get into the robotics news, the economy news, a bunch of the stuff I got here as well. Not going to keep the Reverend long. Reverend, can you just recap, because we have a lot of new listeners every day who don't know what the hate bill does versus the cyberbullying, what this does to free speech. You've got the bills on your website. What ended up happening in the House and Senate, where we are right now. Reverend Ted Pike.
Well, basically, the federal hate crimes bill, which has now been passed by both the House and the Senate, is an Orwellian attempt to basically unite federal and local policing power. It's number 2. It will create a bias-oriented justice system in America, which says that our thoughts, our biases, when they result in some kind of speech that causes violent crimes or prejudice against others, becomes a hate crime. When this bill will be, if it is passed, it will be turned over largely to federal judges and judges all up the ladder to adjudicate from the bench. Most of them will be liberal, and they'll do more than just adjudicate in favor of punishing violent hate crimes. They'll also spread it out to outlaw verbal violence, those words that hold up certain protected groups, such as homosexuals, Jews, etc., to hatred and contempt.
And for those that don't know, we have read over both the bills here on air with the hate crime bill itself very close to passing. It's saying that if you do something that down the road, years later, they say you influenced someone to do violence, even though you didn't call for violence, you're now guilt by association like the Soviet Union. You literally go to the gulag. And then the Cyberbullying Act says if you hurt someone's feelings on the web or try to influence a politician, that's intimidation and you go to prison. I mean, this is an incremental tyranny. This is jumping ahead all the way to the end. This is more draconian than any legislation we've ever seen.
Absolutely. Now, last week, we were able to generate massive calling, finally, at the last moment, for about 3 days, the phones were jammed, and we were able to influence the Democrats on the floor of the Senate, and they passed the Brownback Amendment, which does include within the hate bill a very, very concise, very specific language saying that unless there's imminent, immediate speech that will incite people to violence, hate-motivated violence, that pastors and talk show hosts can't be indicted. So that was a real deliverance. But what the problem is right now is that in conference in the fall, the Brownback Amendment could be stripped off. And also we have a new window of opportunity here actually to defeat the hate bill. I had hoped, you see, let me just back up here a little bit.
Yeah, let's stop right there. I want you to get into that, Reverend Pike, but first, can you explain for those of us that don't know, and I try to study this and it gets murky, the legislative history of this